Mike Bohn joined now by the fighter making one of the most highly anticipated UFC debuts in recent memory. UFC 300, about 10 days away now. Kayla Harrison, how are we doing today?
We're good. 10 days away. Can't be better. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for doing this. It feels fitting. I've talked to you so many times over the
I know.
years, and we've talked about this moment being a possibility so many times. And
I
I mean, does
know.
it feel like surreal or different as we sit here 10 days out?
Um, I know a lot of people have been asking me that. Like, does it feel like super monumental? I mean, I think it just feels big because I mean, it's a lifelong, it's a dream of mine. This is what I've
Mhm.
wanted from the beginning of my MMA career. And so like this feels finally like a really big step in that direction is to hold a UFC title, is fighting in the UFC. Like that was a big hurdle for a long time. So we're here and we're right on the cusp and I feel great. I mean, it's been this camp in particular has been very good for me.
Yeah, and we'll get into that in a minute. But first, I want to ask: when we talked in November in Washington after you won the fight, I like it all felt like it was maybe trending towards staying with PFL. There was those kind of
Mhm.
big fights floating out there. But I did ask you, like, is the UFC in the back of your mind? Like, and you said the right things. My manager will do what he does and all that. But like in that moment, did it feel like that could even really be a possibility? Like, did this happen quickly? How would you kind of compare the mindset then to ultimately
Yeah.
it happening?
I mean, I definitely, I wasn't a free agent until January, so it
Mhm.
did happen pretty fast. And it was just another one of those things where it was like I had to really figure out what I wanted to be the next step of my career. Like there were great options. There was a little bit of a snafu and some drama as usual, like as that comes with the territory of MMA, I feel like at this point. But ultimately, yeah, I don't want to wake up and be 70 and, you know, feel like, man, I wish I had tried. Like, I've never done that in my life once. So I didn't want to start now.
Yeah, of course, no regrets, and the option was there for you. So, like, what was the
Yeah. I'm going to get that
yeah,
on me.
and what was like the process like? Like, did they when you were talking to them, was bantamweight kind of like one of the things where it needs to be this if we want to make this happen?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, to their credit, they did not beat around the bush. It was very clear that like if you want to fight here, this is the weight you're going to fight at. And that was a big hurdle for me to kind of mental hurdle for me to get through. Um and just figure out like it can I do this? Is this what I want to do? Like I feel like it's hard because most people don't realize that I've been training 2 a day since I was 12 years old. So like there was definitely a piece of me that was like, fuck that. Like you've done enough. Like why would you spend the last part of your career cutting an extra 10 pounds? Like why? And then there was another piece of me that was like, well, we grow at the edges of our comfort zone. And this is kind of this is you being all in. Like this is as hard like it can't doesn't get much harder than this, like
Mhm.
you're cutting to a new weight class, you're fighting in the, promotion and you're fighting the legend. Like this is it, you're either all in or you're not in. And I liked that and I think that that brings out the best version of me. And so here we are 10 days out.
Yeah, and you mentioned the camp was great. I think I saw your coach Jeremy do an interview with Sherdog like last week. He said your
Mhm.
cut is ahead of schedule. So like I would much prefer to talk to you now as opposed to the beginning of camp, right? Because you just don't
Yeah.
know. Like, how did it really go? Like when you say ahead of schedule, what does that mean in your mind?
I mean, I don't know what that means because this is uncharted waters for me. So I'm
Right.
still like, are you sure? Like, is everything okay? But I have a really good team around me, between Jeremy and Eric Pena and Dara Hedrick, like they all work very closely together. They're all super dialed in. I have an open line of communication to all of them. Like we've made adjustments. It's been a very great process for me on that side, because like I feel really good. Like I'm in the best shape of my life. I have energy. I'm fueled. Like, and I did not expect that, to be honest. Like I was kind of anticipating like to feel like shit. And I'm sure that part's coming. Like I know we're not there yet. Like I understand, and I have surrendered to that. Like there is going to be a nasty piece of this that I've just kind of surrendered to and accepted, but like I feel really good. And one thing about cutting weight that I didn't really realize is like I spend a lot of time alone. Like I have to do heat acclimation to get used to the sauna. So I spend a lot of time in a sauna alone. I'm doing a lot of slow, steady state cardio. So I spend a lot of time walking or swimming or biking. And it's just me and my thoughts. And that's really given me a new, like, I guess I've leveled up almost like in my mental fortitude and in my spiritual life and in my like focus and my desire. Like, it's been a really nice perk of cutting weight is that like I'm this will sound weird, but I just feel like I'm walking hand in hand with God right now. Like I'm just like dialed in, and yeah, it's been really good. I'm happy. I'm excited. It's been me and my dog. We're good. I'm ready to rock.
Can you compare like that feeling to any other point in your combat career? Like when you're on your Olympic runs, did like you feel that level of like
No.
everything being in sync?
I mean, well, for sure I felt like everything being in sync. Definitely both of my Olympic days, like it was just kind of, I mean, it was just like kind of miraculous when I look back on it, like just the way, just like athletes call it the zone, right? Like where you're just like so dialed in. And it's almost like I've been able to harness that and practice it this camp. Whereas when I was a kid, I couldn't do that. I couldn't like get myself into the zone. It either happened or it didn't. But now I've been able to kind of harness it and focus in and like, I don't know, clear my mind. And it's different in the Olympics, right? Like you have a team, like I was on the road with my best friends, you're training side by side all the time. And you have that in MMA, but fighting is a very lonely endeavor. Like it's crazy. Like, why the hell do we do this?
That's yeah. I mean, that's a whole other can of worms. But
I literally am like, why do I lock myself in a cage with another human and like we try to beat the crap out of you? Like, what? But
well,
I
you've proven very good at it. So, and people will ask, right? Like through the camp, so much of the talk on the weight cutting. What was the balance between trying to shed the weight and losing the mass or whatever you need to do, and like the actual skill training, right? Because people will be like, oh, you got to focus so much on the weight cut.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't really the strategy.
I mean, I didn't shift my focus at all. My focus has been to prepare for Holm. That's why I have a team around me. Like I literally look at the menu on the fridge. I open my fridge and I pull out what it is and I put it like in the microwave and I eat it. Like I don't think about that, and I trust them and I trust the process. The only thing I've had to change is like now I do slow, steady state cardio. So I spend, I walk a lot or I swim or I bike. But like my training hasn't adjusted at all. Like I've been dialed in.
Yeah. So it's going to be a very busy week next week. Like, do me a favor, give me some help here. Help me pre-write my headline for the weigh-ins, because you're going to get a million stories, a million angles of you on the scale. The body language analysts are going to be like, she looks drained. But is it going to be like Kayla Harrison all smiles on the scale? Like Kayla Harrison looks drained. What do you think the headlines are going to
be? You're the writer. Okay. I'm the fighter. Like, let's not, do you want to get on the cage then on Saturday night and I'll write the story?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
No, I think that I'm prepared for a difficult time, and I've kind of surrendered to that and I've accepted it. And like, look, I think that I can do hard things, and this is a chosen sacrifice, and everything I want is waiting on the other side of that scale. So here I go, like I think that it's going to be good. I hope I'm all smiles.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure
I'll
you
tell you
will be
what, I'm going to be shredded though. I'd be like looking at my body every day, like, damn, I could look like this. This whole time, all I had to do is eat right. I've been training twice a day my whole life. I never look like this.
Yeah, it's probably the right time to do it, right? Like in terms of maybe not doing it earlier, because you got this phase where you could focus on the skills and not have to
Yeah,
worry about
totally.
adding the weight cuts. So like
It's
you're
also,
glad you didn't do this years ago or
yeah.
something, right?
I mean, Mike brought up a really good point too, where it was like, he was like, yeah, for most of your career, you've kind of been small for the weight and you've made up for it with your skill set. Like you came with a background. So you were able to compensate for the lack of size, but now you're going to be the bigger, faster, stronger, and experienced fighter. So like you're going to have both instead of just having one. Whereas like in the beginning, sometimes people cut a lot of weight to be big and strong, but they don't have the background. Like I'm going to have it all now. And I feel like that. I feel like this is my time and it's all coming together. It's all in God's time. We've been talking about this for a while, but we're here now.
Yeah, and I know the fight is probably the most anticipated part of the week, but to like go through a UFC fight week, I think on Thursday, the press conference, they're going to bring the entire 26 fight card. So you're going to be up there with like so many former champions and all these big names and stuff. Is that
Yeah.
something you're looking forward to? Just like going up there and being in that experience. I know you didn't love the fan experience last time at the Q&A, but just like
No, I didn't
being
hate
around
it.
all these
I
great
didn't. Okay,
fighters.
let's clear the air there. I did
Okay.
not hate the fan experience. I enjoyed. Listen, they were nice to me for the most part. So I was like, okay, well, this is a lovely surprise. I expected, Holly is beloved. So I kind of expected to get shit on a little bit. I did not dislike the fan experience. I just was like, oh, they're talking about me in another language and I had no idea. And I'm up there smiling like an idiot. Like that part
Yeah.
was kind of like I felt like a buffoon. But I really don't care. It doesn't. I think people made a huge deal out of it, and I felt like I needed to say my piece, but it's not something that I like. Don't care. I don't care. Um, I am excited for the press conference. I mean, I guess like as excited as you can be. I don't know. Like I'm not expecting. Yeah, I'm excited for the experience. I am now on the journey and I'm in it, and I I love my job, and that I'm not a huge fan of the entertainment side of this. So but like this is a platform that I've been given, and I'm grateful for it, and I think it's great, and maybe I'll fucking steal the show, who knows.
Do you feel a difference in the platform? Like Dana White did this interview the other day where he was talking about, how Michael Chandler came over and the change in reaction from Michael Venom Page that he got, and he expects that to be for you. Like you're shaking your head. You can notice
Oh
already
yeah.
how things are different.
Oh yeah, totally. It's a totally different world.
Mm.
And that's not, I'm not knocking anyone or anything, but it's just like the what they have created, is massive in comparison to other promotions and very difficult to compete with, I think. And like kudos to that. Like they don't need me. They don't need any fighter. Like they have created such a strong brand. It's all about what the fighter can do to maximize that and use that to their advantage. And I I hope that I do that, but really like I just want to fucking be UFC champion. Like all of that other stuff is just noise, and yeah, it's great, and I'm want to be a company girl, and I want, like I want to be a part of the team. But yeah, the platform is huge. Like it's funny cuz Michael came up to me, Mike Chandler came up to me at UFC 299 and he was like, "Hi, I'm Mike." And I was like, "I'm Kayla. I know who you are." He's like, "I know who you are." I was like, "I know who you are." And he was like, "Welcome." He was like, "Get ready. We're real excited." He says, "It's a different world, and I'm really excited for you to feel that feeling." And I was like, "Huh." Like this is a guy who's been around, he knows what's
Yeah.
up and he's telling me that. Anyways, I was really grateful for that moment from him, and I'm really excited and um I'm really looking forward to that feeling of stepping inside the cage. You know, I've competed at 2 Olympic Games. I've won the world championships in Japan, like the home country of my sport. I've done a lot of really cool things, and had a lot of pressure on me. And so this feels like another big moment, another big chapter in my career. And I can't wait. I really can't wait.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll only keep you a few more minutes here, Kayla, but we barely talked about Holly herself, you know, right?
Yeah.
Like, but we know what she is. She has all this fight time, all these fights. I don't think her
Yeah.
style is
Yeah.
dramatically evolved over the years, but like when you look at her and you see her, are you like, is this, oh, Holly Holm, she's done all these great things? Or like, do you look at her as just another opponent? I mean,
Yeah.
how do you view this?
I mean, I look at it as like she's just another fighter. I think she is the most I probably have the most respect for her, I think. Like she's such a seems like such a champion that in life, you know, like I just have a lot of respect for her as a human being and as a fighter, what she's accomplished, how she stayed, you know, relevant and adjusted and grown as a fighter. I have a lot of respect for that. It's not an easy thing to do in this sport because it is constantly evolving. And like every day I feel like I'll make an adjustment and then I'll come in the next day and someone at the gym has fucking made an adjustment to my adjustment. And I'm like, it's been one day. Like it's been one day. Can I get this for a week? So I have the utmost respect for her. And like, it's not personal. It's just business. You know, this is my job and I'm coming to take her head off.
Mhm.
So.
I mean, I know you've kind of addressed it, but like her bringing Cyborg in, did that change like your respect level at all? Or are you just like, hey, like fair
Um,
play to you, you're doing everything you can?
yeah, I mean, I really just don't think much of it.
Mhm.
I mean, like, I mean, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like, Cyborg is a orthodox striker, and I'm a southpaw
Right.
grappler. So, like, I guess good, like, cool. But I do like I mean, kudos to them. Look, when I was in judo, I trained with all of the girls I competed with. Like we would have a tournament and then we would have a training camp after, like a 3-day long camp where we would basically just go live twice a day. And I trained with all the girls I competed with. So like to me, it's not a big thing. Like it is an MMA because fights mean so much. But like in judo, you're competing at like 3 times a month, 4 times, like you're at a tournament every week. So, and that helps raise the level, right? Like that helps make everybody a better competitor. So, I mean, literally a month, I've said this story 1,000 times, but a month before the Olympics, I was in France training with the girl that I fought in the finals of Brazil, you know? So like to me it's not a big deal. I actually think that's good for the sport. You're growing, you're learning, you're adapting, you're evolving, you're bringing the level up. And I mean, I'm very blessed at ATT that I don't have to do like I don't have to bring anybody in because I have all these people that are like top notch, you know, ass kickers, like world beaters. So yeah, I think it's great. Good for them. I think Cyborg is just like a attention seeking, but whatever. It doesn't, who cares?
Yeah, and it's so funny you hear like the takes from everyone, right? Of what you're gonna be and how you're gonna be different. Someone will say you're gonna lose your strength, and someone's gonna say you're gonna lose your speed. Like, what's gonna be the version of you we're gonna see
Oh,
compared to
the
145 or
armchair
155?
warriors are out in full force. Um, I don't think I'm going to lose anything. I think we're going to see the best version of me. I think that I've been disciplined, I've been dedicated. I haven't skipped any steps. I haven't left a stone unturned. My team is all in. I'm all in. My family's all in. And I think that I'm about to shine really fucking bright.
Yeah, and I know you need to give this fight and this moment the appreciation and respect it deserves. But of course, you mentioned, the title. That's the ultimate goal here. Have they given any inclination, like if you win this one, is that going to lead into? I know Raquel Pennington made some comments recently about how she'd be like a little bothered if you had one fight and got the title shot. And I'm sure for her, she had the most fights of any female in UFC history before winning a title. So I'm sure she's just like comparing roads. But what do you
Yeah.
like make of those comments? I know ultimately it's going to be the UFC's call to make that fight. But do you think it comes with this
Um,
win?
I mean, I think that my record speaks for itself, so that's kind of hard to argue with. I think that if I go out and I make a statement, that's going to be hard to argue with. I don't know Raquel's record, but I'm assuming that there were losses mixed in. Like she probably got close and then lost and then got, like that's a part
She
of her
did get the
journey.
title shot first against Amanda and lost that one too.
Right. Right. So that's her journey. My journey is my journey, and I plan on, doing everything in my power to make it so that, they want to give me the title shot. They want, I would be saying that if I was Raquel too. I'd be scared shitless.
Fair play. And one thing I did want to ask you about, because I'm sure it's going to come up next week. I don't know if you've seen these comments from Ronda Rousey yet, where she talked about like all the concussions she got in judo and how she went into the Holm fight concussed and all that stuff. I'm just curious, like your take on that. I mean, I know this is what you guys sign up for, especially in judo. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that happens over the years. Are you surprised to hear any of those comments come out from her, just given you did walk like a somewhat similar path and going through that Olympic process and then moving into MMA?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Ronda and I were roommates and teammates for years, and yeah, I did definitely walk alongside her during the last part of her judo journey, and then continued on my own. I wasn't part of her MMA journey, so I can't comment on that. And I think that, yeah, nobody really knows until you're waking up and you got a headache every day, or, like this is like, that's a very personal thing. I'm not going to comment on it. Like I feel blessed that I haven't really had the same struggle so far in my career. So I'm grateful for that. And I hope that she's taking good care of herself. That's all. Like, I mean, there's nothing, I can't really comment on it any more than that. It is definitely a risk. I don't think that any of us probably really knew. So I do hope she's okay and taking good care of herself.
Yeah, for sure. I was just curious because she hasn't really said anything in like 9 years since that fight, and now she's being very open about it with her book.
I haven't, to be honest, I haven't read
Yeah.
or seen exactly what the comments are, so I don't want to comment on what I haven't even looked at. But yeah, that is, yeah, interesting.
For sure. Okay, we'll leave you with this, Kayla, at the end. I know you said this part of the journey, you're going to be the greatest combat sports athlete of all time. Henry Cejudo, I'm sure, will not like that claim, but what does that mean to you? I mean, we know the Olympic gold medals, the PFL titles, the UFC title. Does that just say it all right there? What does that mean in your mind to be the greatest combat athlete of all time?
I mean, yeah, I think that says it all, and dude, I saw what did Max said the other day. He was like, "Man, like you put a ceiling on it or something." He was like, "We're different. Like,
yeah, don't put limits on me.
Don't put limits on me." That's exactly like he said it, and I was like, "Yes, Max. Like, yes. Like that's exactly how I feel. Like, don't put limits on me. Like, don't. How dare you tell me how high I should dream? Like, don't put limits on me. Like this, I'm fucking all in. I'm shooting for the moon and the galaxy and the universe and yeah, I'm excited. This is what a great time to be Kayla Harrison, man. Like I'm just very happy. I'm humbled and like I feel really good. I feel really excited and I can't wait to just get out there and do what I love.
Yeah, we're very excited.
Really, that's the other important piece that I want people to realize. Like, don't put limits on me, but like the whole time, what I didn't realize as a kid, like I wanted to be an Olympic champion. It was always about being an Olympic champion, being an Olympic champion, being an Olympic champion. But what I didn't realize was the bigger reward was who I became on the journey to becoming an Olympic champion. Like that's why my ceiling is so high. That's why the limits are so far off, because like the further I reach, the more me I become. Like the journey is the reward, and like the farther I push myself, like the higher I vibrate, the higher my frequency is, and the better human being I become. So like that's why And like, I really want to be the fucking greatest combat athlete of all time. But the journey is a reward. And I'm really soaking it up and enjoying every moment. So I hope, and I can't wait to do that in front of the fans. And I hope that they appreciate it and how hard I've worked to get to this moment on April 13th.
For sure. I need to ask one more going off that. I know the platform is like important to you, and that UFC title, like what does that mean the most to you for? Like, is that just for personal gratification for your combat sports achievements, or is there something, if you hold that belt, I know sharing a message, you've shared a lot, use your story a lot to, use it for positive things. Is that belt just going to be an object where you can magnify the things that are important to you to share?
Yeah. I think that that's that is, I think for me personally, yes, I have the personal goal of becoming UFC champion, but the bigger picture is that like, be the change in the world you want to see. And like, to have a light like that, a spotlight like that on you, and like to be mindful of that and say like, like to use it to spread my message like that, like for God's glory and to change the world. Like that is the goal, aside from my like selfish little personal goal. Like it's much bigger than me. Do you know what I mean? That is absolutely the goal, is to like change the world. I want to change the world. And again, like everyone's like, change the world. You gotta change the world. Well, it's my dream. That's what I want to do.
Love it. Don't put a limit on Kayla Harrison.
That's
there we go. Okay, Kayla. I'm excited. 10 days to go. I'll see you in Las Vegas next week. It's going to be fun. Hope the last few days of training go well, the flight out, and I'll see you out there, Kayla. Thank you so much for the time.
Yep. Thanks, Mike. Talk soon.